I'm not a proponent of having a debt limit. I don't think we ought to have that at all. So I don't know why we have this debt limit. I wish we just get this thing behind us, pass this bill tonight, and let's next week start working on getting rid of the debt limit altogether.
That sounds like a heck of a plan. Then let's loot the country. Let's get rid of everything on store shelves and just bring it home in big bags. What? They're not going to do nothing. For the love of Mike. Congressman James Clyburn, what's with this debt limit stuff? We don't need no stinking debt limit. Let's just bankrupt let's spend like $550 trillion tomorrow. Tell with the kids. We're all going to be dead one day anyway, and, some sooner than others, as I understand it. James Clyburn, that's not like caution to the wind. That's blowing up the bank. Debt limit? Come on. Who needs that? Don't need no stinking debt limit. Unlimited debt. Yay! And anti-Semitism. Unlimited anti-Semitism. City University of New York. There are calls now for a City University, I mentioned it yesterday, to be defunded in New York because of their Jew-hating, lunatic, radical Islamic jihadi commencement address speaker at the City University of New York Law School graduation. That was a couple of weeks ago, but they pulled the video. When people saw it and said, say, wait a minute, she sounds like the head of ISIS. And they said, well, maybe we should take the video down. So they took the video down, and then people said, hey, why'd you take the video down? And then they had to go back and give them a shove to get the video made public again. And here's the thing. The media doesn't care. The New York Times and the Washington Post and CNN, they're like, yeah, you know what? We hate the Jews, too. But you're Jewish. So what? We're self-loathing. We're anti-Israel. We're liberals. They're not really liberals. They're leftists. But some of them think they're liberals. Really, they're leftists. It's a brainwashing thing and a low IQ thing. Every day is an IQ test, as you know. So I want to update you on that, City University of New York. And James Clyburn, we don't need no stinking debt limit. Let's just blow up everything. Let's burn the place to the ground. That's the term fiscal responsibility is a joke in Washington, D.C. It's on a tombstone in the Congressional Cemetery near J. Edgar Hoover and his pal Clyde, and that's what's his name, Tobin, and man, oh man. So that's your Washington, D.C. I've got a lot for you on the debt ceiling debate, and there's going to be there was a vote in committee yesterday, and it passed by one vote. Got out of committee by one vote to go forward with this. And a lot of Democrats are going to vote for it. And I've got a lot of Republican response for you to this deal that Kevin McCarthy and Joe Biden have apparently agreed to that will add trillions and possibly trillions and trillions to our national debt, because who cares? Let's do caution to the wind. Pfft, what caution? What wind? Don't even talk to me about caution to the wind. So we've got that. That's a big deal. It's a big story. The ongoing debt battle. And interestingly, Congressman Matt Gaetz, who has a few times been on my show on Newsmax recently, Matt Gaetz says passing the debt deal without a Republican majority, and they might not get a Republican majority, it's a slim majority in the House of Representatives, and if they pass it needing Democrat votes and you don't have enough Republicans to do it, Congressman Matt Gaetz, who's a lot of fun, I got to say, in person. He said, would likely trigger an immediate motion to oust Kevin McCarthy as Speaker of the House. And interestingly, a name that has been tossed into the ring is Congressman Byron Donalds of Florida, who came out yesterday and spoke, and he was just great. I've liked this guy from day one when he came to Washington, D.C. I ran into him at the White House Correspondents' Dinner a while back. And he and his wife, and in fact, my best girl and Congressman Byron Donalds' wife, had involved in some business together, but leaving that alone. Byron Donalds, I think, is great. And yesterday he came out and he spoke on the subject of this debt thing. And he told some truths. Which will often get you in trouble in Washington, right? Nothing gets you in trouble like the truth. So Matt Gaetz is saying, if you give this thing the bum's rush and you don't have the Republican majority to pass have a majority of Republicans in the House, but if you don't have the Republican buy-in across the board, then it might lead to Kevin McCarthy being ousted as Speaker of the House and being replaced with someone else who would invariably be more articulate. So we've got that. Also, we've got crazy FBI, this crooked, sleazy, slimy FBI. They've just ignored Congress and the Constitution. And Christopher Wray, the sneering FBI director, he's like, congressional subpoena? What congressional subpoena? We don't need no stinking congressional subpoena. See, there's a theme emerging here. They got like banditos running Washington, D.C. And so now they're threatening to charge him with contempt of Congress, which he will dust off his shoulder like dandruff, and then he'll go to Starbucks, and then he'll go back to cheating on his wife or whatever he does in his free time in the Xerox room, with Peter Strzok and Lisa Page. A lot of that kind of thing goes on down at the FBI and the Justice Department, because don't trust if you got a spouse that works there, don't trust him. It's a crooked place. And you may remember, that they'll just brush it up because the law doesn't apply to them. The laws of gravity don't apply to them. We've got all kinds of people that have lied repeatedly under oath to Congress, like James Clapper, the then Director of National Intelligence, just about spying on all Americans and collecting on all our data when he was asked by left-wing Senator Ron Wyden, and he lied repeatedly under oath. And any consequences? Well, he went and got some $1 million jobs with major contractors, defense contractors, and so on. And he's doing just fine. Don't worry about him. What's her name? Lois Lerner, the IRS, just laughed in the face of Congress about targeting the political enemies of the Democrat Party, and no consequences at all. FBI Director Christopher Wray is held in contempt of Congress. There will be no consequences. It will go no further than that the New York Times will laugh, and then they'll go have sex with him too, because that's kind of the arrangement that they have. It's a great big circle fest in a Democrat Party hot tub, and that's what's going on. Hot tub. And now you may remember, however, that Steve Bannon of the Trump administration was held in contempt of Congress, and he was sentenced to 4 months in jail. He's still appealing that case, but he was found guilty in court and sentenced to 4 months in jail. And Peter Navarro, you may remember Peter Navarro was arrested by the thugs, the goons, the brown shirt squad of the Democrat Party, that is to say the FBI, when he was at Ronald Reagan National Airport in Washington, D.C. And at least the initial reports had it that his ankles were shackled, that he was ankle shackled at Reagan Airport. I was looking at that this morning. I'm not 100% sure that's true, but Peter Navarro, who was in ongoing talks with the FBI about this and that, then they went and they certainly handcuffed him and dragged him out of Reagan Airport, even though he was in ongoing discussions with them, because, they become fascists. Let's just say it out loud. That's what's happened. And he is now set to go on trial for his contempt of Congress charge, right? But that won't happen to the FBI Director, Christopher Wray. I'll just bet you $1 right now. Peter Navarro. And by the way, it's that Obama judge again that's behind it all. Amit, the Obama judge, and none of the news reports mention that he's an Obama appointee. It's amazing. They only mention it when it's a Trump appointee, and they're politicizing the case. But when you got an Obama appointee going after Trump administration officials in court, the news media always conveniently leaves out that detail. It's a fascinating and very consistent reality, because, as you know, the most insidious power the media has is the power to ignore. And they ignore a lot of key things. We've got a lot more, too. The Chick-fil-A. Chick-fil-A has gone crazy. Now they've got a diversity, inclusion, and equity vice president at Chick-fil-A. I like to change it from diversity, equity, and inclusion to diversity, inclusion, and equity, because that way the acronym is DIE, and that seems more appropriate. But Chick-fil-A they've got a vice president in charge of diversity, inclusion, and equity die, and that's making a lot of people unhappy. It's Chick-fil-A. Crying out, is nothing sacred? What next? Honestly, the Republican Party appoints a chief of diversity, inclusion, and equity to die the United States. It's Die America. Diversity, inclusion, equity, America. Amazing. Target stores, also known as Target, now it's Target. They, getting bomb threats through a local TV station in Cleveland. And that's front page news everywhere because that's big. But, then on the other hand, you get the two pro-life guys, 73 years old and 80 years old in Baltimore, get pummeled half to death for standing in front of a planned death clinic. And Democrats love that. They love the organ harvest. Do you think they floss with the organs that they? It's hard to say what they do with them, but they harvest them. And these two men. Did you see the pictures of the man? A 73-year-old man had his face bashed in. Looks like he got hit with a baseball bat over the eye. Blood all over the place. Blood all over the sidewalk, the brick sidewalk. Blood all over him. Not news, however. Not news. Not on CNN, not on the Washington Post, it's just not news. New York Times, they don't care about that. But somebody phones in an alleged bomb threat where there are no bombs to a TV station in Cleveland, and that's really big news. Because, oh no, Target, those terrible right-wingers. Really, do they bash anybody's face in with a bat for being pro-life? No, but that's okay. See how that goes. Also, the big retail stores, because of the Democrats, Kohl's, Foot Locker, Target, Walmart, the brazen theft worsening. You know why? Democrats. Democrats is the one-word answer, and that's all the answer you need because that's the correct answer. Pretty amazing. Also, we talked about the murder, the assassination-style murder of an elected politician in New Jersey weeks ago. And someone has been arrested, and that she was shot and murdered in her car in front of her house, assassination style. Somebody walked up and shot her repeatedly and killed her. And then the story kind of went away because, sometimes they do and sometimes they don't. And this time they went away. But now they've arrested a guy, and it's an interesting update that I will have for you there. And I got an update on the U-Haul guy at the White House too. Sai Khandula, update on the Sai Khandula, and that is, it's. Remember, he was going to assassinate the president and the vice president and their families and kidnap them and take over the government and stuff. And then they downgraded the charges to like scratching a U-Haul or something like that. It was that was something to see. But I've got an update for you on that as well. Also, speaking of Democrats, one of Charles Manson's murderers is Leslie Van Houten, and she is looking at being paroled now. They already paroled Sirhan Sirhan, right, who shot Bobby Kennedy, Robert F. Kennedy, in the head at the Ambassador Hotel, Los Angeles, California, the night of the California primary. Shot him June 5th, 1968. He died June 6th, 1968, and after midnight. And but never mind that they have paroled him, and they're still waiting for Governor Frostentip to let him out because he's not letting him out just yet. It's complicated, this whole thing. Bill Gates apparently having sex with a Russian woman, and now the Russian woman has been linked to this Russian woman spy, a well-known Russian woman spy. Looks like it might have been a big, broad setup to ensnare Bill Gates because the espionagers, Amazon employees, 1,700 Amazon employees looking to walk out on Jeff Bezos today because they're being told to go back to work because the Wuhan Red Death is over. So they're saying, what? Go back to work? We're not going to do that. We're gonna walk out. Amazing stuff. We got furry. The Democrats have these furry festivals where they dress up like animals, and apparently it's a sex thing because now no kids are allowed, and they're freaking out about this. This is a weird one. As though we needed more weird ones. More money for the war in Ukraine because Joe Biden is the candidate of the military-industrial complex. And a whole lot more. We are at 888-630-9625. Hey, Chris here with some exciting news. Now you can listen to me live on the WMAL app. Doesn't matter if you're in your car, in the office, on the go. The WMAL app delivers crystal clear around-the-clock news coverage anywhere with cell service or Wi-Fi. So don't miss a second of your favorite shows. Download the WMAL app today on the Apple App Store or at Google Play Store. Yeah, this councilwoman in New Jersey that was assassinated in her front yard. They've arrested a guy from Virginia, and I'm reading the CBS News story about it. They failed to mention that she was a Republican. She was a Republican. She was assassinated in her car in her front yard by a guy from Virginia. She was African American. Her assailant, also African American. And interestingly, CBS News fails to mention that she was a Republican who was assassinated in her front yard by a guy from Virginia named Rashid Ali Bynum. But never mind that. Now let's go to the phones, Michael. We are at 888-630-9625. Let's go to Jeff calling from Hagerstown, Maryland. Jeffrey, you're on the Chris Plante Show.
Hey, Chris. Good morning. Great show last night on your show. That's on Newsmax, I believe. Yeah. Okay. So the highlight for me was the little quip about Hillary Clinton in the background with a blow dart gun. I think I had lost my seconds of hysterical.
We were, last night on the Newsmax show.
You got me good on that one.
Chris Plante and the Right Squad, and they're talking about Joe Biden, because there are a lot of Republicans running for the nomination, and the Democrat side not so crowded. You got Robert F. Kennedy Jr. and, that Marianne Williamson or something.
Right.
Not very competitive. And I said, but beware, Joe Biden thinks he's going to, saunter in there. Beware that Hillary Clinton might be behind a curtain with a blow dart gun because she's not giving up. She's still lurking back there. She believes that it's her destiny, and she's not giving up. She's a dangerous woman, isn't she?
It's still funny right now. I'm having a hard time. All right. So I got a Animal House, Delta House nickname for you. Pluto goes down the line, gets past Flounder, and there's AOC. All right. So Cortez, I've been giving this a lot of thought. For now on, your name is Alexandria, occasionally coherent. Now get behind that bar and get me a Pabst.
A Pabst, a PBR no less. Holy cow. Yeah, AOC. And, now it's true that women can be members of fraternities and men, we had the story a couple of weeks ago, men can be members of sororities because of Democrats and the ubiquitous gender confusion. Oh, speaking of Disney, we've got a Disney gender confusion update today, too. Yeah, this morning we were awakened to news, lots and lots of news. One of the stories, CBS News, the national network CBS News operation, arrest made in the murder of New Jersey councilwoman Eunice Dwumfor, authorities say. Well, who else would say that? Don't you think authorities say is redundant and unnecessary in that headline? An arrest has been made in the murder of New Jersey councilwoman Eunice Dwumfor, D-W-U-M-F-O-U-R. Eunice Dwumfor, she was a Republican, African-American woman, elected official, assassinated or murdered assassination style in her front yard while in her car. And she's a Republican. She was a Republican, then she was murdered in what appeared to be a political assassination. And the news media dropped it because she's a black Republican woman. So what do they care about that, right? in New York just be thrown in front of a train, and that would be non-news, unless, like a white guy did it or something, in which case that'd be a problem. So an arrest has been made in the murder of New Jersey Councilwoman Eunice Dwumfor, who was shot to death outside her home in Sayreville, New Jersey. On February 1st, Middlesex County Prosecutor Yolanda Ciccone announced at a press conference Tuesday. Police arrested Rashid Ali Bynum, 28 years old, of Portsmouth, Virginia, not a neighbor, in connection with the murder, Ciccone said. Bynum was taken into custody in Chesapeake City, Virginia, without incident, she said, and he's awaiting extradition to New Jersey. Said insult to injury there. Bynum is charged with first-degree murder. Listen to these charges. First-degree murder, second-degree unlawful possession of a handgun. Seems less serious than the murder thing, don't you think? But Democrats like these gun charges. And second-degree possession of a handgun for an unlawful purpose, which happens to be murder. Really, probably a political assassination, but pay no attention to that. Dwumfor of Sayreville, note that they still haven't identified her as a Republican. She's still not a Republican in the story. You would still not know that. And there's a picture of her. You can see that she's an African-American woman. She was shot and killed by this guy in her front yard. And she's still not a Republican. Isn't that interesting? Gosh. Dwumfor of Sayreville was shot while sitting in her car on the evening of February 1st. A 911 call reported shots being fired, prompted police to respond to the home. That's good. Around 7:30 p.m. that evening, and police found the 30-year-old, the borough councilwoman, that's, like a county sort of councilwoman, in her vehicle with multiple gunshot wounds. She died at the scene, police say. How did police track the killer? It's actually kind of interesting. A witness told investigators they saw a suspicious white Hyundai, a white Hyundai Elantra. How's a white Hyundai Elantra suspicious? Well, this one was. Parked in in the area with Virginia license plates. That's a clue right there. That's what you call a clue. So investigators tracked a white Hyundai Elantra using Easy Pass logs. Easy Pass, for your highway toll things and stuff. And license plate tracker. They have these license plate trackers on police cars and on highways, and because we're all being monitored and tracked at all times in this police state surveillance society that we're building in the United States of America. It's like a science fiction nightmare. And driving from Virginia to New Jersey and back again. Really? Why did it take so damn long to arrest the person? Another witness said they saw a thin black male around 5'10", and with braids, and surveillance video caught a figure with similar characteristics in the area of the murder. Police were also able to track a cell phone registered to Bynum that traveled from Virginia to New Jersey. Looks like they got kind of an open and shut case here, and they got, and again, I don't know why it took so long, but okay, to Virginia after the back to Virginia after the shooting. What else led you to this guy? And so investigators found Bynum saved, and this is kind of crazy. Bynum he was saved as a contact in Dwumfor's phone as FCF, the prosecutor said. And that was kind of, hey, the lights in here just went crazy for no reason. Nobody knows. Well, we have this construction going on. The building may collapse at any moment based on what I've seen so far. So she had him as a contact in her cell phone. Were there any other clues? Because this is, but I'm going through the CBS News story. And here's an African-American woman, elected official, countywide official. And she was assassinated in her front yard in her car back in February. And they just arrested the guy yesterday. And she's still not a Republican. I'm going through the story. CBS News. And it's interesting that the African-American woman murdered in her front yard in what may have been a political assassination is not identified anywhere as a Republican. What's up with that? That's your news media. See? Now, I've got, I mentioned the threats made to Target stores, also known as Target, because it was Target, the French pronunciation. And now it's morphed, of course, into Target because of all their children things. They've got a lot of children issues there. But there is kind of a fascinating twist on the story that I mentioned a little bit. Not just kind of, it's really quite interesting. That the Target stores in Cleveland, here's the headline from News 19. It's 19 News in Cleveland. And the headline is Cleveland 19. That's what they call themselves, the TV station. Cleveland 19 News receives bomb threat against 5 Target stores as Target faces LGBTQ plus controversy. So you look at that and you think, oh no, these terrible homophobes, they have an irrational fear of gay people, and they're calling in bomb threats. Well, not so fast, because the story from WOIO in Cleveland 19, reporting bomb threat Friday. Now, that's some time ago, isn't it? It just made the news. Friday afternoon against 5 Target stores in the area. The threat received at 12:26 p.m. via email, centered around Target's LGBTQ plus merchandise. Okay, immediately jumping into action. This is their writing. We did good things. Immediately jumping into action. These are action words. Our staff made reports with each local police department as well as the Cleveland division of the Federal Bureau of Investigation. They're on the job here. So the email from it's actually got the name of the person on the email here who sent it, and the email says Target is full of expletive deleted. It's blacked out here. Target is full of cowards who turned their back on the LGBTQ community and decided to cater to the, it might be crater, but to cater to the homophobic right-wing redneck bigots who protested and vandalized their store. Nobody vandalized their store. We won't stand idle by as far as the right continues to hunt us down. See, because the right is hunting them down in the delusional fantasy world in which they reside. We are sending you a message. We placed a bomb in the following Targets. And then they give the addresses of 5 different Targets on Kent Road and Dressler Road and Boardman, Poland Road and Youngstown Road and on Wagner Road. And so they got, and here's the email. They published the email. We will continue to bomb your targets. It's a double entendre. Until you stop cowering and bring back your LGBT merchandise. We will not be erased. Like women in every place you look. We won't go quietly. This reminds me of that hit movie that the Democrats produced called How to Blow Up a Pipeline. Which is fine because it's left-wing, radical, environmentalist, and it's a major motion picture. It was in theaters. You can, stream it. You can get DVDs and all that stuff. So Target is full of beeping cowards who turned their back on the LGBT community and decided to cater to the homophobic right-wing redneck bigots. Tell us what you really think. And they're the bad guys, not you. These Democrats are not well, am I right? Kind of crazy. And it's Alsan. They actually published the guy's email address at Gmail. Alsan Akhmedov. Alsan Akhmedov is apparently the gay rights activist that just put his name on it. Not very bright. This is every day's an IQ test, right? But there it is. And that's why it's not news. You see, that's why it's not news. Now, if it were, how dare you put gay stuff in your store for children? We're going to blow up these 5 stores. And the guy's stupid enough to leave his name attached to it and everything. then CNN would be interested in the story. But since it's a gay rights activist who is angry with all the terrible people, you know how this goes. There you go. This is as much a story about the news media as it is about anything else. Because once again, it's a non-story because the bad guy is the wrong bad guy for the narrative. I'm making quotation marks with my fingers. For the narrative. The Democrat Party's narrative. That's the thing. Yeah, and we've also we got Disney, and the front page they got a mustachioed man posing as a woman at Disney now, because they are really a mess. It seems pretty much the entire Democrat Party. Do you people? There are 600 or 800 million people listening to this broadcast right now. Maybe 1.6 billion people listening to this broadcast. Do you guys have family members or neighbors or co-workers who are all, switching genders and making a big issue of it? Because there's this dude on the front page of the Washington Post they have today. In middle age, a light bulb went off is the headline, with a light bulb went off in quotation marks. For some with gender dysphoria, it was only as attitudes shifted that they found their true selves. I want to share that story with you too when we get to the Disney thing with the man, burly, overweight man with a mustache, dressed in ladies' clothing, greeting the kids at Disney because the Democrat Party. I'm telling you. All right, let's go back to the phones, Michael. Let's go to Matthew calling from Mission Beach. Matthew, you're on the Chris Plante Show.
Hello, Chris. How are you?
Very well, thank you. Welcome.
Thank you very much. By the way, your brother's got a great gig. I saw him not too long ago. Great gig. But anyway...
Oh, you do? No, hang on. You're in Mission Beach, California. My brother Daniel is a reporter for KUSI in San Diego. And you're right, he does have a great gig. He's out on the street every day, roughing it and going to the border and doing all the great street stories for KUSI in San Diego and having a great time. And he's done a lot of great stories about the border and about homeless situation there and all kinds of great stuff. So thank you for mentioning my brother Daniel, Matthew.
And the women flock to him, by the way.
Well, he's he's a TV guy. He's Dan the Anchorman. He's
That's right. That's right. But I'll tell you what, I'm fine. It's my dog I'm worried about because he was, up to no good. He's a 20-year-old Chihuahua, and he was on Al Gore's Amazing Internet. Somehow stumbled across a picture of Hillary in a bikini, and he hadn't been able to eat in 2 weeks.
Oh, no, your poor dog. That is just terrible. You got to keep the dog away from the internet. You never know what they might find.
And I'll tell you what, how is it that when I make my commute, and I drive past the blowtorch, when I make my commute down Foxhall Road, there's 40 speed cameras all over the place, but there ain't one in Fort Marcy Park.
Now, that's funny. See, in Washington, D.C., it's true. There are speed cameras more and more everywhere you go. Fort Marcy Park is where Hillary Clinton's old paramour from Little Rock, Arkansas, that worked at the Crooked Rose law firm that came to Washington, worked in the White House under Clinton. And Hillary Clinton gave him a real serious dressing down in front of the White House staff one day. And he went to Fort Marcy Park and shot himself and killed himself, committed suicide, and then rolled himself up in a Persian rug and threw himself in the woods there, which was...
Funny how that happens, huh?
Yeah, and then there are no cameras there. There are cameras everywhere, but none at Fort Marcy Park, which is, Matthew, Fort Marcy Park is close to what Washington landmark? It's close to the Central Intelligence Agency.
Oh, goodness gracious. That's right. That's in Langley.
Yeah, it's right out there. Yeah, right. It's right along 123, which is, if you're leaving D.C., going to the CIA or vice versa, you drive by Fort Marcy Park. We always make note of Vince Foster every time we drive by ourselves. You came in loaded for bear today, Matthew. You got all kinds of stuff.
Well, let me tell you the worst kept secret in Washington is Bill Clinton is not even Chelsea's real father.
I know Webb Hubble is her real father.
No, the real father is Janet Reno.
Bada boom. Hey, now. There we go. There it is.
That's it. That's all I got.
That's pretty good stuff, Matthew. Thank you. Have a great California day. Look out for all the stuff because, it's crazy. It's getting crazier and crazier out there. Had those Marines attacked in your general neck of the woods a couple of days ago. Memorial Day. Democrats, actually, there have been a bunch of arrests in that. I don't know if you're aware of that, but I have that coming up. Matthew, thank you for the call. Great call.
Sometimes I wish we weren't married, then I could say what I really think.
Bum, 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 bum. All right, today is mailbag day, too. It's Wednesday, hump day, in the Bill Clinton household. We just had some good Clinton stuff there, too. And it's mailbag day, and I have my mailbag questions right here. I'm flapping the papers right there by the microphone because it's what we do on mailbag day. All right, and with that, because there are too many stories to get to in the time that we have, let's go to the telephones again. Let's go to Brad calling from Miami, Florida. Bradley, you're on the Chris Plant Show.
Hey, Chris.
Hey, Brad.
You're a Nutrier man, and I went to Glenbrook North and got kicked out and went to Glenbrook South Night School to get my diploma. But I've always wanted to tell you that I met your brother at P.F. Chang's at Northbrook Court. We were sitting at the bar together, and he told me about your show. And the moment I turned your show on and I heard Jump Into the Fire, I was like, oh, yeah, I'm in.
Our theme music, Jump Into the Fire, opening music, the drum riff is Jump Into the Fire. That's fun. So you're North Shore, Chicago. You went to Glenbrook North. You got kicked out. I got kicked out of Nutrier West, and my brothers got kicked out of various high schools too, all over the neighborhood, all over the region there. And then you ended up at Glenbrook South, where a couple of my brothers went and got kicked out. And you finished up high school at Glenbrook South.
Yeah, they have a night school program, and that's where I got my diploma.
All right, that's good stuff. And now you're in Miami Beach, Florida.
Well, I live in Key West. We've talked before.
Oh, you live in Key West. Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah.
So
I'm just hanging out in Miami right now.
Very nice, very nice. All right, and you latched others because you met my brother at P.F. Chang's on the North Shore, and you were talking, and he told you to dial into the show. See, I got a bunch of brothers, so they're out there drumming up listenership for me, you know.
Well, I mean, after Rush Limbaugh died, I was kind of in a dead zone, and then I picked up on you, and life is good.
Wow, that is great. That's a great call, Brad. Thank you very much. Listen, I look forward to meeting you one day, and the first beer is on me as long as it's not a Bud Light. Not a Bud Light. Just can't be a Bud Light. Otherwise, everything is good. No Bud Lights. I was out with a friend last night. He was having Bud Lights, so not me, but he was.